The boy had never seen a room so bright. The lights, the towering audience, the glittering stage, everything felt too big, too loud, too unreal. For 12-year-old Lian Reyes, who had grown up singing on the streets of Tondo for coins and leftover food, the America's Got Talent stage was a world he had only seen through cracked TV screens in shop windows. And now he stood on it, small, barefoot by choice because shoes made him feel clumsy, clutching a weathered acoustic guitar whose wood had faded under years of Manila sun. Backstage minutes before, he had whispered to himself, "Para kay mama, para kay papa." For his parents, for the lives they never had the chance to live. He inhaled deeply, steadying the storm inside him. When the stage manager gently guided him forward, Lian stepped into the blinding white circle of the AGT spotlight. His heart rammed hard against his ribs as he blinked at thousands of faces blurred together. There were gasps, he heard them. The judges glanced at one another, visibly surprised by the skinny kid with hair that looked like it had fought against the wind. Simon Cowell leaned forward, elbows on the table. His voice softened. "Hello, young man, what's your name?" Lian Reyes, he answered, his accent thick but his voice steady. "And how old are you, Lian?" 12 po, I mean, 12. He swallowed hard, nervous about mixing English with Tagalog. The crowd chuckled, but kindly. "What are you doing here on AGT?" Sofia Vergara asked, smiling warmly. "To sing, po." Then after a shaky breath, "To give my dream a chance." Simon tilted his head. "And what will you be singing for us today?" Lian's fingers nervously stroked the guitar strings. "A song I sing on the streets every day, Hotel California, by the Eagles." This time, the crowd reacted loudly. A boy this young, tackling a classic rock anthem. Even the judges exchanged skeptical glances. "Why that song?" Heidi asked. Lian stared at the stage floor for a moment, remembering the chaotic streets of Tondo, the endless chorus of jeepneys, vendors, and life happening too loudly. Then he looked up, eyes glistening. "My dad loved the Eagles. Before he passed away, he said whenever I sing this song, he feels like he's still walking beside me." A hush swept through the auditorium. Simon's expression shifted. Less judge, more human. "Take your time, Lian." He nodded. Then he lifted the guitar. A soft strum flowed out, gentle, haunting, almost fragile. The audience leaned in. His fingers trembled on the first chord, but the moment he began to sing, everything changed. "On a dark desert highway, cool wind in my hair." The voice that came out of him was not small, not nervous, not unsure. It was raw, smoky, and impossibly mature, like a soul carved by hardship had found its way into a child's body. The auditorium erupted in startled murmurs. Even Simon straightened sharply, his eyebrows lifting in disbelief. The timbre in Lian's voice carried the weight of dust-covered streets and nights singing under flickering streetlights. It carried years of longing, grief, and stubborn hope. Warm smell of colitas, rising up through the air. Sofia placed a hand on her chest. Heidi tilted her head, eyes wide. How he mouthed the word, "Wow." And somewhere in the back rows, a woman wiped away tears even though the song had barely begun. As Lian reached the iconic chorus, his voice didn't just echo through the theater, it carved its way into every heart present. "Welcome to the Hotel California." It was pure vulnerability wrapped in power, the kind of performance that made people forget they were watching a competition and instead feel like they were witnessing something that only happens once in a lifetime. The guitar melody wove through the air with aching sincerity. When Lian closed his eyes, he saw Manila, not poverty, not struggle, but memories of his father tapping his foot while humming this same song. When he opened them, he saw thousands of people in utter silence. "Such a lovely place, such a lovely face." He softened the last line, letting it fade like a whisper carried by wind. But then, he didn't stop. With courage rising in him like a tide, he surprised the audience by moving into an improvised bridge. The guitar grew stronger, faster. He strummed with passion born of a life that had taught him survival and grit. His voice soared above the melody, textured with emotion far beyond his age. People were on their feet now, sensing they were watching the kind of moment AGT soulfully lives for. And his final note, long, aching, absolutely golden, pierced straight into the heart of every listener. The auditorium erupted into applause so thunderous it shook the air. But Lian didn't look triumphant. He looked relieved. He exhaled shakily, eyes wet, and gently touched the guitar like it was something holy. The judges sat frozen, each caught between disbelief and emotion. The first to stand was Howie Mandel, clapping hard enough to sting his hands. Sophia rose next, then Heidi. And finally, slowly but meaningfully, Simon stood too. The audience screamed. Lian blinked fast, chest tightening. For a boy who had spent years performing on sidewalks, invisible to most who passed him, this felt like stepping into the sun for the first time. When the noise settled, Simon was the first to speak. Lian, I don't say this lightly. That was one of the most unexpectedly beautiful performances we've had on AGT in a very, very long time. Lian's breath caught. Thank you, Po. Thank you so much. What you just did, Simon continued, leaning closer, is transform a song everyone knows into something new, something emotional, something personal. You made the entire room feel your story without even telling it. Lian wiped his eyes quickly. My story is in my voice. And it shows, Sophia added. Your voice is pure emotion. You made me cry, and you should be so proud of yourself. Heidi nodded. You're 12, but you sing like someone who has lived 1,000 lives. The audience murmured their agreement. Howie finally spoke. Lian, I've heard thousands of singers on this show. But what you just delivered, it's not just talent, it's heart. It's experience. You sing like someone who fought for every note. Lian bit his lip, trembling. This wasn't just praise. It was validation, something he had never once received on the streets. Simon raised a hand to quiet the room. Before we vote, Lian, can I ask, who's here with you today? The question caught Lian off guard. His gaze dropped to the stage floor. No one, sir. I came with the help of a charity group that helps kids like me. A ripple of emotion swept through the crowd. A boy traveling across the world alone, driven only by a dream and the memory of his parents, that truth stirred something deep. He continued softly, my mama passed away when I was 7. My papa died 2 years later. Singing was the only thing I had left. It helped me survive. He looked up, voice cracking. And tonight, I just wanted them to hear me. Wherever they are. Silence followed, heavy, heartbreaking, beautiful. Simon swallowed hard. The man known for his critical exterior suddenly seemed human, fatherly, almost protective. I think they heard you, Lian. I really do. Lian nodded, fighting tears. Then something unexpected happened. A voice from the audience shouted, we love you, Lian. Followed by dozens more cheering his name. His body shook. He covered his face for a moment, overwhelmed. The stage lights flickered softly against his tears. Simon leaned back and sighed. Well, I don't think we need to vote. The judges exchanged glances. Sophia grinned. Heidi clasped her hands. Howie shook his head in awe. Then Simon stood, slowly, dramatically. Lian Reyes, he said, pointing directly at the trembling boy, you came here alone, but tonight you've gained an entire theater full of family. And after that performance, the audience sensed it coming. They screamed. Simon pressed the golden buzzer. The theater exploded into a storm of gold. Confetti rained from the rafters like shimmering blessings. Lian froze, eyes wide, mouth parted in disbelief. He stared upward as golden flakes touched his face and hair, sticking to his cheeks damp with tears. He dropped to his knees, clutching the guitar to his chest. Backstage crew members, judges, audience, everyone stood as if witnessing something sacred. Simon walked onto the stage, breaking protocol, and helped the boy stand. He put a gentle hand on Lian's shoulder. You earned this, Simon said, voice thick. And I hope you know, this moment may change your life. Lian couldn't speak. He nodded, dazed, overwhelmed, holding his guitar as if afraid it would vanish along with the dream materializing before him. The judges surrounded him in a group embrace, confetti swirling around them. People cried, grown adults who hadn't expected to be moved so deeply by a child with a guitar. As the music played during the golden buzzer celebration, Lian thought of the cracked concrete where he used to sit and sing for coins. The dirty pavement, the smell of food carts, the stray cats that circled him for scraps. He remembered the nights when hunger hollowed his stomach, when he held his guitar close because it was the only thing he owned. Now he stood in front of thousands, loved, cheered, celebrated. Later backstage, a producer asked him how he felt. I feel like Papa's hand is on my shoulder, he whispered. And Mama's singing with me. He cried again, not from sadness, but from the overwhelming feeling that dreams weren't just for the lucky ones. Sometimes, even a poor kid from the streets could step into a world where his voice mattered. And the world had heard him. That night, Lian went back to the hotel the charity had arranged for him, clutching a golden confetti star in his palm. He sat on the carpeted floor, the softness strange beneath him, and stared at his guitar. He whispered a promise to himself and to the memory of his parents. "I won't stop singing until the world knows your son made it." And with that, a boy from the slums of Manila, armed with nothing but a battered guitar and a voice carved from survival, stepped into the first chapter of the life he had always dreamed of. The world didn't know it yet, but a new star had been born on the AGT stage. And his name was Lian Reyes.